And we're live.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's Friday. It's the final day of Caffeine and Confidence. It is here, and yeah, feeling a little sad, but we're also excited because it's been a wonderful week. And thank you all. Seriously, thank you all to everybody who has joined this week. The feedback has been incredible. I love the fact that you guys are quoting some of the guests. I love the fact that some of you guys are just like, "Hey, I needed this. This was a great break." I mean, just really appreciate you taking not only taking the time to watch us live, but just even those who are taking the time to watch the recording. So, and
Absolutely.
just want to be clear with Caffeine and Confidence, this is not the end, and we'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end of the show. But this is not the end of me and Kristina. We're gonna come back and do this again and find another way to do this. And of course, we want to find out from you. What did you think about this? And would you like to see more of this as well? So get your, like we always like to say, Kristina, let's get your favorite cup. And with that, again, your favorite beverage, whatever that is, no judgment. It's also Kristina Mother's Day, so I want to wish you a happy Mother's Day because
And
that's coming up.
happy Mother's Day right back to you.
Yeah, yeah. So with that, I'm wearing one of my favorite Mother's Day shirts. It says "Ma, Mama, Mom, and Bruh." And if you're a boy mom, you know exactly what that means because if you have sons between the age of, I don't know, 7 to 30, somewhere along the line, you're gonna be a bruh, and it's a term of endearment. And us boy moms, we love it. So this is one of my same girlfriend who got me this cup. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here, up in here. She got me my mom T-shirt, so I wear it all the time. And trust me, all the boy moms, just all the moms, period, love it, especially when they see the bruh part. So for all the moms out there, happy Mother's Day. This weekend, I hope you get what you
Yes,
want, which is time alone. I'm just saying.
that's right.
Yes, time
Yes.
alone.
Speak more
I
on
know,
that.
yeah, I get it. The brunch, the dinners, and all that's nice, but it's nothing like time alone. So I hope you get some of that this weekend. All right. So with Caffeine and Confidence, just want to remind you all that again, this is not the end. And it's always been more about the conversation. So this is about your voice, visibility, showing up, whether it's messy, showing up when it's magical, and basically just remembering who you are and remembering who you are out loud. That's what this whole week has been about. So with that, again, I want to just introduce my partner in everything Caffeine and Confidence, Kristina. Kristina, thank you so much. Seriously, I appreciate you so much. You meet those people, and people talk about it all the time on LinkedIn, right? Want to collab, or people have horror stories, or you try to meet these people and do stuff. Kristina is one of those people to where I was like, look, this is an idea I've been sitting on. This is what I'm thinking. Kind of went through the whole thing. I did all but a PowerPoint presentation. And after all of it, she was just like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And I
I'm
was
in.
like, really?
I'm in.
Okay.
Well, Nicole, it was an easy yes, right? It didn't, and I think to quote one of our guests earlier this week, it was a hell yes,
Yeah.
because this was your brainchild, right? Of let's really give people just a break, something to be able to dip their toe in and say, listen, we all struggle with confidence at different levels and in different times in our lives, and even you struggle perhaps maybe even daily. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So let's bring some real people in to have some conversations around what this looks like because it's not perfect. None of us are doing life or work or anything perfectly. And your thought of this, let's give them something else, like to stop feeling like they're on an island and start
Yeah.
feeling like there's another community, a global community of people who in fact feel this way. And guess what? It gets better, right? And it's a decision. And I think this started with a conversation that we had, earlier this year. So
Mm-hmm.
this is always a yes. I'm always going to sign up for anything we can do to pour into other people to help them
Yeah.
realize they're not alone and that this is a journey we all take side by side, even if we don't know who's walking next to us.
Yeah, amen to that. And again, that's why I appreciate you so much. So today, we've heard from some wonderful guests. We actually have some favorite quotes from those guests, and we'll get to that shortly. But we wanted to answer some questions. We feel like we've had some really cool questions this week. So we kind of wanted to answer those questions on our own as well. So we're going to answer some questions. We're going to reflect on our guests and some of their favorite quotes. We also are going to play the finish the sentence game between me and Kristina. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, of course, we'll wrap up with, things that we have going on and how you can, support us and all that good stuff. So if you're listening live, we definitely want to hear from you in the chat, give you a shout out. Again, thank you so much for your time. And Kristina, I'm going to kick it off because we're both going to answer these questions. But I want to find out from you, what surprised you most about the conversations this week?
Huh. What I found very surprising and actually very refreshing was how incredibly vulnerable all of our guests were.
Mhm.
They all went there and they didn't hold back. They really pulled back the veil to say, listen, this is not easy. And there's a way to show up and show up powerfully in this space, even when you're feeling like you're in the muck of it all,
Yeah.
right? And so their ability to be able to be so vulnerable, even as we're alive talking about these things, it's
Mhm.
me, I was so happy to see that that's how that's how they showed up, but also too, we're very human, and so we think that people who are achieving at high levels, many of our guests have had great accomplishments
Mhm.
behind them and even in front of them. And the whole point is to they showed up honest and I think really gave some very resonating quotes, which we're going to dive into. But people showed up honest and bringing their true selves into this space. And that was, I don't know that I was fully surprised by that, but I was so happy to see it.
Yeah, you know what
How
I
about you?
loved is, for me, everybody talked about failure. So it kind of goes by with what you said. It wasn't just an automatic, ooh, everything is great or whatever. No, everybody talked about the times where you were down, the times where you feel lost, but everybody
Mhm.
talked about failing, but the belief to know it's going to get better. And I love that because ultimately that's another part of being confident. You could fail, you could, fall flat, you can fail, you stumble, but that you get that confidence in you to know, it's going to get better. It's going to get better.
Yeah.
And all of them had, like you said, not only with being vulnerable, just their stories. I mean, it was
Mhm.
real talk because a lot of times, as we know, and especially the people who are listening, you always see the people online always gonna tell you how great it is and how much money they made and look what all that I got. And it's like, okay, but I mean, everybody's got a story. Everybody didn't come
Yep.
out with everything being so great and however much money and this and the other. So they revealed the before and the after, and I could
Mhm.
really appreciate that. So, and Kristina, you got a shout out. It said you're big sis. So I just
Hey,
want to put it out
Jad, yes.
there.
Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Always, always. Well, and with that, so Nicole, let me ask you a question. So reflecting back on this week, and even your thoughts about coming into this project,
Mhm.
what does confidence feel like in your body now?
In my body right now, confidence, I feel grounded.
Mm,
Um, I'm in a space where I don't over explain. I don't have to, I don't have to go out of my way. You know what I mean? I just feel really grounded right now. And I feel like, and that's a good thing, especially the over explaining, the having to like prove myself. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where either you like it or you don't. I mean, it's definitely that shift of, I definitely know more now than I did a year ago from getting laid off. When you're getting laid off,
mhm.
you're kind of like all over the place. Everybody knows that feeling. Um, but I've come into my own where I feel really good and grounded. And if you like it, great. As my grandfather said, if you like it, I love it. But if you don't, like, I'm not gonna lose any sleep. I feel good.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, yeah. How,
100%.
how about how about for you?
You know, um, Confidence, I've said, before that confidence is a daily choice.
Hmm.
And it's a staff I choose to pick up every single day, and I will tell you what's been really refreshing from this week is recognizing that this is not an easy journey, and it truly is a choice every day.
Yeah.
And but I would say that confidence really feels really calming right now.
Mm,
Surprisingly really calming because I tend to be, kinda high anxiety, if you will, always worried about tomorrow, never being present in the moment, and I'll say this past, probably 6 months or so, I've been pivoting towards, "Listen, we're gonna deal with what's going on right now in this
yeah.
moment, and, yesterday was yesterday, and tomorrow will come and will be what it is." but today we're going to be present. And so it feels really calm to kind of know that that's, I'll say, kind of like what you're saying, like to feel okay.
Yeah.
Like it's okay to not have everything figured out, to not have every item on my to-do list checked off. The confidence in knowing that, listen, all of these things are going to be done in the time that they're meant to.
Yeah. It's
So that's
it's that
confidence.
it's that feeling of I'm just being,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yep.
And I'm good. Because I've been there, done that with some of this stuff. So and I'm with you on that whole worrying. And I feel like I've gotten better at that. I mean, you still have your moments, okay? But I'm getting
Mhm.
better with that because some of that stuff I just can't control. I can't control, which
We can't control
actually,
anything.
right, which is interesting because it leads to the next question. I'm gonna have you kick it off. Where in your life are you being called to be braver?
Ooh.
I know.
Um, honestly, so I was thinking about this question. So, in the work that I do, right,
Mhm,
it's it's holding on to that confidence and knowing that I can ask for that sale. I can go for
mhm,
that proposal, right? That thinking that I would, oh, let me just stay in this small little pond over here. Like, no, that's also playing small. That's also dimming my light. So I'm being called to be more brave and actually in stepping in that confidence to say, listen, yeah, the smaller things are for me as well, but it
mhm.
doesn't negate the fact that the larger opportunities are also meant for me, right?
Yes.
So be brave in how I'm showing up every day to say, listen, I'm going to ask for the connection. I'm going to ask for the work. I'm going to ask for the opportunity. I'm going to ask for the introduction. All of
Mhm.
these things are just part of me managing and running my own business, but showing up for myself to say, listen, I know we may feel some kind of way about this, right? I'm an introvert and I don't necessarily like to always put myself out there, but that's also too part of the work that it's the barrier that prevents me from doing the work that I know I'm meant to. So I
Yeah.
will no longer allow it to stop me, right? So to be brave in those moments and asking for the things that are necessary for me to share my light, the things that I know that I'm good at that I need to share with the world.
Yeah.
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 What about
And
you?
thank you. Well, first I was give a shout out to my friend Stacy Anderson who sent me a message. Thanks for being transparent, sharing your journey. You're doing an amazing job. Thank you, Stacy. I appreciate you. So I'm stepping in as far as being braver, similar to you, where I have to stop saying as far as like, all right, so I'll put it out there. And this is something I was going to talk about towards the end, but I'm actually writing a book. And I will make excuses. I'll be like, oh, well, it's my first one, or I kind of downplay it. Like, I got to stop doing that. I got to step into this is what I'm doing. Or not even want to say something, afraid somebody's going to be like, girl, what? So I got to step into I do this, I do that, and kind of just putting it out there. Christina and I, and hopefully I'm not sharing all your business, but we've applied to be speakers at different conferences. And what
Yeah.
was so funny is we both got rejected from the same conference, and you would have thought they actually accepted us. We were like, whoa, we got our first
On the
rejection
same day.
on the same day because it was a big conference. And I know that
Yeah.
sounds crazy. We didn't get it, but just the fact that we got a response, we were like, "What?" We
Yeah.
got a response.
Yeah.
But it's
I'll
one of
take
those
it.
where,
That's a win.
yeah, I'm being brave on. If that's what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try it. If I want to talk to the
Yeah.
person, I'm gonna reach out to that person. If I want to do this, that, and the other, I'm gonna do it because I have nothing to lose. It's I tell it to people all the time. I tell it to clients. You got nothing to lose. So what am I looking like to not try something? And I
Yeah.
don't see a no as far as like people like, oh, it's rejection. I see a no as well. That just wasn't for me. So now I just got to try something else.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I'm stepping into like truly doing better with telling people what I'm doing instead of always just kind of like, well, I'll wait to reveal it later, or when you get to the point, because a lot of times people they need to kind of see your process to either inspire them or to kind of see like, oh, okay, I get it, or I'm kind of doing the same thing. So I don't need to, it's not a cooking show. I don't want to just come up and be like, oh, here's the cake. I want you to see what I put in the bowl, how I stirred it, how I broke some eggs. Like I want people to see all that. So I just have to do better with that. So I feel like that's the part of me that's getting braver. So
Well, and that's
now that I put it
real,
out there,
right?
everybody and their mama know I'm writing a book. So now the pressure's on. So it is what
Well,
it is.
and Nicole, to your point, that's what's real, right? That sharing that journey. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't tell you so how often do we, watch documentaries of people's lives, or I love to listen to audiobooks of people's lives. For some reason, Kevin Hart's, autobiography comes to mind, which is amazing. I think it says, "I can't make this stuff up." And where he's like, you think that people think that he was an overnight success. If
Yeah.
overnight is 20 years long, right?
Right.
Then sure. But
Yeah.
and that's the case for most people who achieve any level of success,
Yeah.
is that this isn't just like turning a key, turning, a light switch off. This is or on. This is about showing up in a way that is every single day with the belief that yeah, this
Yeah.
is hard, but guess what? Nothing's standing in the way of my dream. So,
Yeah.
and I don't mean to jump ahead, but I want to ask you this question because so
Sure.
what does showing up fully look like for you right now?
Hmm. Um, Kind of going back to the earlier question we started, I just I just feel solid. I don't know how to describe that. But usually I feel like I'm all over the place, but I feel like I got a handle on things. And again, it could change by Wednesday. You just never know. But I'm just feeling more solid. I feel like I'm walking into more rooms where my presence enters and the doubt and all that stuff didn't get an invite finally. Like I'm not
Mhm.
carrying all that in the room. So I'm definitely heads up a little higher, feeling good because that free falling feeling that I felt, and let me try to say that 10 times, when I got laid off, you feel like you literally were, kicked in the back. To today, it's totally different. But then I had to go through that journey. It's no different than friends of mine who like if they get a divorce or if you lose someone, you have to go through that. So I'm really proud of myself from where I was then, feeling like I had failed or what was wrong with me, to now where I'm like, oh, I'm having fun, I'm doing my own thing. And just with what you were saying, I'm doing stuff that I always wanted to do for years. Like I'm that same person, but I just it didn't have it in me to do. And
Yeah.
now it's like I'm doing it. So when I hear people like, "Oh, girl, you feel like you're finally doing it," it's something I've always wanted to do. And people who know me have known I'm the same person, but now I'm in a position where I'm able to do a lot of this stuff. So yeah, I just feel really solid.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Solid. Solid as a rock. Playing off lyrics, sorry.
most days.
Well, and
How about
I
for
have
you?
agree with you. I don't know if so the word's not solid for me, but it's definitely and you've heard me say this before, and those who are close to me know, I have said that I am in a season where I'm actively living my testimony.
Mm,
And I cannot tell you it's every day I have felt like that is and that's I'm not sugarcoating it, right? Things have been rough. They
mm-hmm,
have been really rough. And so showing up every single day is is the thing, is the win.
mm-hmm,
And choosing to say, listen, no, I'm not going back to this. This
mm-hmm.
is what I am meant for. So maybe it is solid, right? I'm feeling solid in the fact that I've got 10 toes down in this
Yeah.
direction that right now has not, produced what I have expected, right?
Mm-hmm,
And that's because apparently I had plans, right? God had something else in mind, and that's okay.
mm-hmm.
So it's me becoming peaceful with understanding that this is, in fact, I'm actively living my testimony and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And a good friend of mine would use the analogy of, when the wind is pressing against your face, you're moving too fast. When the
Mm,
wind is pushing against your back, you're not moving fast enough. But when
mm-hmm,
there is no wind, that's when you're in full alignment. And
mm.
there's no wind. There's a
Yeah.
present moment and there's the things that I'm doing right now. So I just keep showing up and doing exactly what I'm supposed to do every day. and not shaming myself for the things I didn't get done yesterday and the
I
things
love
I
that.
wrote didn't check off today, right?
Yeah.
It's like, nope, this is what I can manage. So this is what
Yeah.
I've done, and I'll be
Yeah.
back tomorrow.
I remember kicking open the door to this new year and saying this is the year of me, and me being me, my energy, as far
Yeah.
as, and I think that's helped so much, even with just posting and talking to people and helping other people, because
Mhm.
I'm just doing it. Again, I'm not overthinking it, overperforming it, not over explaining it. I'm just doing it. And I feel like that has resonated with people, and that's helped me. Because I mean, honestly, you know how I feel. You know, I say this all the time, Christina. If just one person likes something that I do, I'm good. If just only one person this week watched what we were doing, I felt like we won. So
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. Agreed.
All right, so let's reveal our favorite either reflections from our guests or quotes. So if you have some of that too and you want to put it in the chat, we'll share it as well. So we got to kick off with Portia. Portia was Monday.
Oh,
She kicked
yes.
off the week of caffeine and confidence. And actually from Portia, I have two, but they're short. But man, when she said these, so the first one she did, she said she is unlearning what other people think of her. And I was like, oh, gut punch, because yeah, that was deep right there. I felt that one because I'm in that spirit too. So I love that. But my favorite one of Portia Mount, because you say this all the time, and I love this because I feel like I hear your voice even when I'm saying it. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And I felt that one too, because I think I'm in that spirit as well. Some things, and people I know out there who I've worked with, they know I've always been like this, because people used to come to me in corporate America and be like, can you help me say no? I've always been big on no as a full sentence. It's no, period. It's not, I don't need a doctoral thesis. I don't have to explain myself. It's no. I can say it with or without a smile, but it's still
Mhm.
no. And
Yeah,
when she said it's either a hell yes or a no, I was like, okay, I'm feeling that, because it's just nice to be able to tell people, no, I can't do that right now, and keep it
yeah.
moving. So I love that. I loved her energy on that. What did you have from Portia?
Well, and let me say about that, it's the hell yes or a no. I gotta tell
Yeah,
you, that's something that I'm actually learning because as a recovering people pleaser, it is
yeah,
so hard to say no. And but being a business owner, I can't be everywhere. I can't,
hmm,
do everything. So I'm starting to embody that to figure out how you do say no and standing firm in the fact that you did and not feeling guilty about it,
yeah.
right?
That's why you say
So
it with a
I
smile. You feel good. You're gonna like, no.
oh, but I'm like dying inside, like, well, but I can.
Yeah, yeah. You'll
So
be okay. You'll be okay. You'll be okay.
one one of my favorites from Portia and just dynamic personality. I
Yeah.
absolutely adore her. One that she said was, if it doesn't feel a little uncomfortable, it's probably not stretching you.
Mm,
And
that's
because
good.
if we're not, the way I took that is if we are not going fully in, right? We're
Yeah.
not fully bought into what we're doing. And if it feels like, like your Sunday sweater that you just relax on the couch. Okay, so
Hmm.
listen, when you're probably not going to get any attention for it if that's what you're looking for, visibility, right? Or you're probably not going to get a lot of movement out of it. The whole purpose of the things that we do is about growth, right?
Yes.
And if it's not stretching you, then you're probably gonna end up you're running a race, a marathon, right? One step at a time, probably 1 inch at a time instead of,
Yeah.
a full glide. So that was one of my favorite, quotes from Portia.
Yeah, love that. All right. So then we moved on to Tuesday. We had Ronnie Dickerson Stewart, who had some goodies. And let me tell you, this is the one where she said, to where I felt this, like all the hairs in the back of my neck. No one is worried about your pivot. Pivot. No one is worried about your pivot. No one is thinking about you. And I had to laugh at that too, because remember, you and I, we've had that conversation. I've had the other conversation with folks. You get some of these people on LinkedIn, and not even just LinkedIn, on social media. Hell, I was guilty of it. It's like, ooh, I got to make a change. I don't know how people are going to feel. Girl, you are not McDonald's. Okay. You are not Starbucks. You are not KFC. You're not JP Morgan Chase. If you make one little change, you're going to be okay. And Ronnie was just breaking it down as far as like, nobody's worrying about you making a change, just make it. And I
Mhm.
love that. And I love that.
Yes,
So, but yeah, that's got to be a t-shirt too. No one is worried about your pivot.
that's
So,
right.
yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
right.
she brought the sparkles with that because that's what she's known for. So the sparkle
The
sprinkler. So
sparkle sprinkler.
she brought the sparkles with that one. She brought it with that one. So,
Yes, she did. I mean, we definitely Ronnie kept it going, right,
yeah.
on lighting that fire, just continuing every guest made it bigger every single
Yeah.
day, and I have 2 from Ronnie,
Okay.
and one the first one was she had to unlearn adopting someone else's template, right?
Mm,
And I
okay.
think she even said along the lines
Yeah.
of, "And holding judgment around that template."
Yeah.
And man, because that resonated with me because it's like oftentimes we take our cues from the people around us, the people who
Yeah.
raised us, the people who are, maybe in our work environment who we admire. And that that made sense to me because it's oftentimes it's like you're looking for to idol or to mimic someone else's
Yeah.
success in order
Yeah.
to kind of achieve it for yourself. And so that one definitely resonate with me. Let me see. Um, Oh, okay. Yeah, we have a couple comments here. We'll go into that in just a second.
Okay.
My second one I wanted to make sure to share is she said, confidence comes from getting in the field and testing and learning a whole lot wherever you are. So
Yeah.
she was like, as regardless of whether or not you work in a 9 to 5, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are somewhere in between, that it's
Hmm.
about getting in the field and doing. And I think it was
Yeah.
in that same context of the pivot conversation.
Hmm.
Nobody is looking at you to say, like I always like to say, this is not high school where the mean girls
No.
are like just like looking at you and like giggling and laughing and pointing. That's not happening, right?
Yeah.
We are adults and people are showing up. And in fact, they are so excited to hear how you are showing up for
Hmm.
yourself. And I would say we have more people who are trying to help and support and want to see each other win than we have people who are trying to pull each other down. So,
Yeah.
and that was another, I think, piece part of that. One of my
Yeah.
favorite quotes from Ronnie.
Yeah, that was good. All right, so I want to just dip in the chat real quick. Thank you, Taryn. She said it's so helpful to see when people are trying and how they're going about their process. Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate you, Taryn. She's always somebody I know who's I can lean on. Dominique is listening and watching. Hey, Dominique, you're actually we're going to be talking about our favorite quotes from you, but she apparently I made her laugh when I said you are not McDonald. So. Um, and thank you, Destiny. Destiny Ferguson again for watching. And Destiny said too, don't let people control your vision for your life. Amen to that. I know that's right. And then our Holcomb, confidence comes from reps. Ooh, that's good. I like that. I had to put that on a t-shirt. I like my t-shirt. So thank you, our Holcomb, for that one. All right. So Wednesday, hump day, we had Dr. David Hooper, who, let me just tell you, Christina knows David. I had just met David, but I felt like I've known David for years. He was just that guy, and he was so good. But here's what David said that I loved. He said, backing myself, taking big action, making bold moves, and believing I have the power within me to achieve anything I want. I was like, ooh. And that was when we were asking him, what does confidence means to you? And I love that. I love that because he shared a story. I definitely encourage everybody, obviously, to look at everybody, all of our past guests. But he shared a story about anxiety, about something that happened to him when he was, in elementary school, in the class laughing at him, and how he had to get over it. But yeah, that was a testimony right there, as far as like making those big moves, making those bold moves, not really knowing if it's going to happen, but having the confidence to know of like, this is what I want. And I felt that. I felt that.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, David is one of my favorite humans, and he's heard me say this, and so I'm so happy that he was able to join us this week. And much like with Ronnie, I have two, and so I
Okay.
have to share these because these were
Okay.
just gems that. And the first one I will say is some context. David was pouring out that, he had developed really kind of like what Ronnie was saying, this template of from other people, right? As to the
Mhm.
persona that he was supposed to have when he was he was achieving a really high level in sports. And he had said that there were some of the best skills you can have are kindness, understanding, and empathy.
Mhm.
And when he adopted this, he said, I melted into the true version of myself. Now, he was also too saying this as he had to unlearn being what he thought was arrogant, right, or an
Right.
ass in this space, which I
Yeah.
still don't believe that he ever was, because if you know David, is like he's just like the greatest human. But
Right.
but shifting from that, right, from having adopted who he thought he was supposed to be into the true version of himself was
Yeah.
actually what started to unlock a lot of these things for him, right? Just organically, he is naturally these things, kind and generous and empathetic. So to me, I thought that was like really starting to get deep, and
Hmm.
how it is that we start to approach a lot of the work and things that we're part of. The
Yeah.
the second thing he said was, we get into a whirlwind of overthinking and we paralyze ourselves. Now,
Ooh.
I will
Yeah.
raise my hand on that one because
Hello.
where we see where we think it's about the perfectionist view, right? Where we have
Hmm.
to be perfect in everything that we pursue. It's got to be all set up. We have to have the full plan and execute against the plan. No, we don't. We just have to take the first step, right?
Yep.
But we will paralyze ourselves with all of the overthinking. It's like looking at the top of Mount Everest, knowing that you could climb it if you stayed focused on just on what's in front of
Yep.
you, because one step at a time is all it takes to get to the top.
Yeah. 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 That was great. All right. So Dominique rounded out our week of guests. And she, I think, had one of the quotes to where I heard from two people this morning via text saying they had watched hers. It was like, okay. And I'm going to call Taryn out too, who I just talked about, because she said, this is the headline. So Dominique, and let me just tell you, everybody was so good about reflecting and just kind of like, they just wanted, they took every question in.
Mhm.
But when we asked her as far as what does confidence look like for you right now, she said, looking at the world and deciding with everything that's going on, change, energy, tensions, my confidence is I don't care. I'm not
That's
participating. And I was like, okay, well, thank you for coming. She just had a mic drop, so we appreciate it. We're good. And yeah, this has been great. So, I mean, because I love that. I love that. I don't care. I'm not participating. If that's not protecting your peace, I don't know what is. That is a gumbo of protecting your peace, boundaries, and everything else. It was just so good. And yeah, I love that. So Dominique, thank you with I don't care, I'm not participating. Period.
Yep.
And what else you got? So what else you want to do today with that one?
Exactly. I love the energy that that was coming from, right? Because
Yeah.
it's saying, listen, we often forget that we have an option on whether or not we take
Mhm.
on anyone else's energy, whether or not anyone else's reality starts to invade ours, right? It's we don't have to, just because the world is behaving in the way that it is, does not
Mhm.
mean that our world has to in fact follow in suit. Right? So,
Yeah.
I have to agree with you, and I had heard from a couple people, they were like, "That is a mic drop." So several
Yeah.
people, Dominique, if you are still listening, just know that you resonated with so many people to the point of getting messages
Yeah.
of both Nicole and I about that.
Oh
So
yeah.
I knew that that was one that was probably going to come up. So I chose another one as well because
Okay.
Dominic, I don't know how many times we had to you drop the mic, we had to pick it up, drop the mic and pick it up. Um, but here's one that also too someone came back to me that I also to agree with. They said Dominique said you have to have the resolve in the decision to be
Mm,
in without knowing that you're knowing how you're going to do it, right?
mm,
So it's
mhm,
adopting that self-belief in
mhm,
recognizing that I'm going all in, 10 toes down.
mhm.
We're doing this thing. And how we get there is not of my concern right now. You know that your steps are going to be ordered. The resources are going to present themselves.
Yeah,
It all starts with your self-belief, right?
yeah,
And knowing how
yeah,
it is that you're going to move in that space. Just believe that you can.
yeah, yeah. Destiny. Okay, so she brought up something, and Destiny, I'm gonna read it. She said, "My hour-long webinar possibly didn't record, and I had my whole week planned around it. I'm letting myself have a temper tantrum for 2 days. No perfectionist here." Yeah, I mean, it was like honestly, it was. I wanted to do caffeine and confidence last year, but I was like, oh, I want to be this way, I want to be that way, I want to do this, and I talked myself out of it. And I even ran it by somebody else and they couldn't do it. So I was like, well, they can't do it, I can't do it. And I was mad at myself. I was like, oh, I missed an opportunity. So that's why when it came up again, and I was like, you know what, let's just go ahead and do it. You already know, you already have your vision. And when I asked you and you say yes, I was like, we're just gonna do it. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
you're right, Dominique, no perfectionist here. It's like, if I love it, again, going like my grandfather, if I love it, or if I like it and you love it, we good. We
Yep.
good. So,
And
yeah.
and Destiny, no, don't feel any shame about that. I recorded an entire live. I was live, as I am now, on mute. So I was
Yep.
talking, everybody could see me, but nobody could hear a single word. And I had to re-record that whole thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know how much you have to set your ego and your pride aside? And I like to say, be the first one to laugh at yourself before anybody else does, because you
Yeah.
remove all the power away from anything that
I,
they have to say.
yep.
Yeah.
I've done those webinars. I've done the mute. I've done the whole not record. I've done the whole whatever. So, but guess what? Just do it again. You'll be all right. So, and whoever's out
Mhm.
there looking at it, it's always amazing me. It's one thing people will say, oh, you were on mute, but then people want to be like, what's going on? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Girl, bye. So when you do yours and it's perfect, then you let me know. So yeah,
Mm,
yeah. So don't feel bad. Let's just
no.
do it again, take a deep breath, and guess what? It'll be even better the second time around. You got this. You got this.
That was dress rehearsal. That was
Yep,
it,
that's
right?
it. That was it. That's how I tell myself even now. That was just a dress rehearsal. Go about it. So, all right. So we got some sentence finishers that we're going to do for each other. And so, Christina, darling, this one for
Yes,
you.
darling.
After this week, I'm walking into rooms with,
Hmm. Okay, I won't say the first thing that comes to my mind, but I will say, with all of the confidence and all of the self-belief that I am absolutely not only deserving to be in that room, but I'm gonna get a win from it.
mm,
How about
I
you?
love that. I'm walking in no longer shrinking to make other people be comfortable. So
Mm,
that's because been there, done that. I mean, I could write a whole chapter on that, especially coming from the corporate world. So yeah, head is high, not shrinking. It is what it is. So feeling good. Yeah. And if I
put
could
that
sing,
on
I'd
a shirt.
bust into a song right now, but I can't, and I don't want to. I don't want people to stop watching us. So, but yeah, feeling good like that.
Yeah, we'll have karaoke hour another time.
Right.
Okay, so how about finish this sentence? The version of me I'm becoming is.
I'm becoming somebody who is over second guessing my power.
Mm,
I've done that too, and because we're all guilty of it. So second guessed, over the overthinking club. I used to be vice president of the overthinking club. And yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm in that version to where I don't second guess. And even similar to you, Destiny, where you feel like you're beating yourself up, don't, don't. So stuff happens. You're gonna be okay. In a couple days, a couple weeks from now, we can all get together and we can laugh about it. Seriously, I know you're not there yet, but that's where I'm at. Stuff happens. I can't second guess it. So, and
mm,
I feel like I have something to offer, something to give. I'm just gonna do it. I think the right people will gravitate and resonate with you. Like I want that energy where it's those right people. Those are my
mm,
people. So yeah, yeah.
that's right.
All right. So what about you? The version of me I'm becoming is.
Is bold and courageous. Courageous actually is my word for this year.
Ooh,
And is unapologetic.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
that. That's one
I'm
of my
I'm
favorite
I'm
words
over
anyway.
all of those things that, continue to steal my joy.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say, right?
Yeah.
Because feeling
Yeah.
moving in any of that space is not operating in the space that I deserve to be, and that space is one that is joyful, and,
Yeah.
to use Dominique's words yesterday, is childlike, it's
Mm,
playful.
yeah.
And that is something that I know I deserve, so I'm gonna choose that reality right now.
I love it. I love it. All right. So, Christina, confidence showed up for me this week when I,
Hmm. I'll say in some way felt validated. Every
mm,
single guest that we had,
hmm
it just further validated probably a deeply rooted thought or feeling that I
hmm
had for myself and how I was showing up, both right now in my business, but also too
yeah,
in my corporate life, my past corporate life. But yeah, that's I feel validated, I feel heard, I feel seen
hmm
by just and even with all of the comments that we've received throughout this week, I do feel like this really is more so of a community, that we are not on a boat by ourselves, right?
yeah,
We may be
yeah,
on a cruise ship, but it's a big one, and there are thousands of us there, lots to do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So for me, confidence showed up for me this week when I didn't try to perfect the message. I just
Mm,
trusted it and went loud with it. So, and like you said, a lot of that had to do with the guest. I mean, their messages, I connected and felt strongly with everything they were saying. So for me too, again, not it didn't have to be perfect. I just knew I had to trust. There's something I wanted to say this week. So, so I was really
oh,
proud of
yeah.
that. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. I
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
Okay, so how about this? If I leave you with one truth, it's this.
If I leave you with one truth is you need to stop apologizing for the space that you earned. And that's something that's been big for me. So, yeah, yeah, you
Mm,
earn that space. Don't apologize for it. So,
yeah. I don't know if there's any more mic drops. I'm feeling like the Serena Williams commercial, right? I think it was the Lincoln or the new town, not the town car, the Navigator, right? Where all the mics
yeah,
are just dropping out of there and
yeah,
Serena's catching.
yeah, yeah.
So for me, I would say, hmm, someone else's reality is not your own, right? We
That's a good
too
one.
often we
Yeah.
think we look to the left and the right of us, someone who is ahead of us,
hmm
and we somehow try to take on this persona that we are in competition with them, regardless of
hmm
whether or not we have our own business or if we are in the corporate space or other. You are exactly where you are supposed to be right now in this moment.
hmm
And tomorrow that could be a different place. But every decision you choose today will decide on where you are tomorrow.
Yeah.
So choose to stop looking at any other person if it makes you feel like you are less than or like you are behind. Look at the journey you've already had, right?
Yes.
I mean, I can think about where I was 5 days ago, 5 weeks ago, 5 months ago, 5 years, right? Just keep going back, and
hmm
the growth and the progress that I've made to this day is the only thing that keeps me focused on recognizing that I have a journey to go, but I'm gonna have fun along this way, right?
mm
And every day I'm taking another step, it's progress, even if you feel like it's a setback. So I know that was a lot, but more so to say,
No,
yeah.
it wasn't. You did good, Pastor Green, because I was going to tell everybody the Church of Green and Gray is now open. So if you'd like to donate, because she is dropping some stuff right here, feel free. So yes, I said the Church of Green and Gray. So
Oh,
feel
my
free. That was good. That was good.
oh, mm,
All right. So next one. I hope you remember that you are.
oh, I hope that you remember that you are loved, that you are powerful, and that you are intentional. There's no
Mm,
accident when it comes to you. There's no accident when it comes to the things that you do, the things that you may encounter, the progress, the success, even the setbacks. Everything is very intentional.
yeah.
And all that to mean is that you are perfectly aligned exactly where you are, even though things may feel imperfect, they may feel rough, they may feel jagged. It doesn't mean that it's not all part of a bigger purpose, right? So take the moment just to be present and recognize that all of this is intentional, and we have access to feel about where we are in every single moment. We have access to the anger, we have access to the upset, but we also have access to the joy, access to the feeling of being full and
Mhm.
appreciating the moment. All of these things are available to us regardless of what's going on.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
How about
So
you?
I just one word, enough.
Ooh, yeah.
Because especially on those blah days, those crappy days. I mean, we've all been there, you know, especially in those days, you are enough. You can only do what you can do. If you can't, if you start out the day and you're like, I cannot finish my day, it's just too much, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Okay, you're good. You did enough. Keep it moving. Walk away, back up from the laptop, go watch some TV or whatever. If you're like, if you're in a position where you can do that, or even sometimes I remember being at work. It was just enough. And sometimes I would just have to just get up from my desk and take a walk, go to my car. Like it is
Yeah.
what it is. So, but just remember that you are enough. I had to take off the cape a long time ago because it's
Oh,
hard being Superwoman. It's
yeah.
exhausting. So I had to take off the cape. I don't juggle. I'm not holding a whole bunch of cups. Them days are over. So it's enough. It's enough. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
I
yeah, you
love
are
that.
enough. Yep, yep. All right. So with that, and hopefully you had opportunity too to finish some of those sentences, but want to talk about what's next for us. So Kristina, I'm gonna put the spotlight on you. Want to know what's next, and then let people know where they can follow you and all that good stuff. But what you got going on?
Well, it wouldn't be me if I wasn't, holding several plates up at the same time. But I would say is I'd love to see a future of what does caffeine and confidence look like for us,
Yes.
moving
Yes.
forward. So that's definitely on the discussion board. Notably, and I think a lot of people who are connected to me, and this is first time I'm going public with, I think with this audience, is I'm actually in the process of writing a book as well. So great minds think
Yay.
alike, right? We are in our parallel pursuits of trying to really think bring many of our thoughts and experiences into the world. And so decades in the making, if you will, thinking about I would love to be published. I've had the honor of being part of some anthologies and sharing some of my memoirs, but I'm turning the corner and starting to focus on a topic that's near and dear to my heart around corporate parenting. And if you followed me, you've heard
Mm,
me say this before. I have a working title for my book, which is Corporate Parenting, how it is, um, given rise to the toxic work environment that we all loathe, right?
yeah.
We hate, perhaps. And I am now opening up my calendar to start having interviews. I have been um, going out to my network and asking them for interviews. Tell me your story. Help me understand your corporate experience and how it is you might have
Mm,
experienced corporate parenting in this
hmm.
space. And so I will have some information that I'll be publishing about that. If you are interested in being part of a contributor where I'm interviewing you for your experiences, then just send me a DM. And or a message, or you know how to get a hold of me,
Yeah.
and tell me that you're interested. And I will send you next steps of information. Next week, I'll have some posts that will be kind of making a call for interviews, but I'm going to have a limited number of people. I'm trying to get representation across every generation. So if you are a boomer, if even if you are a part of the silent generation, a Gen Xer, a Zennial like me, if you are a millennial or a Gen Zer, I want to hear your story. I want to know what's going on. What are you experiencing or have you experienced in the corporate environment? So that's a big project that I'm working on right now.
Nice.
So I'll leave it at that. How about you,
Nice.
Nicole? What are you doing?
Well, I'm excited. I think I shared some of this on LinkedIn. So I'm going through a rebranding phase. I've told people, when you're first starting out doing your thing, you kind of rush to do stuff and you're excited about it. But then as you grow and stretch, you realize, this is not really me. It's not my voice. It's not really what I want to put out there. So I am going through some rebranding. I'm excited about it. Having true brand strategy meetings and really talking about what I want to put out there next. And it's been eye-opening. It's been exciting. It's been scary, but I am so excited about the next, the next thing, because that's what you do, right? You grow. If you feel stuck, you got to get out of it. You got to get out the mud. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm not giving myself a deadline. When it's done, it's done. And I'll, introduce it to everybody. And then with writing my book, I'm writing a book about getting laid off and that journey, because I think that's so important. And I also think laughter is important. So I want to do something for all those people out there who've been laid off, who, especially now, because it seems like every week I have friends or people that I know at certain companies, but I want to let them know you're not alone. And you too will, this too shall pass. But I want you to laugh. I want you to feel you're not alone. And this is something that's really important to me. So I'm working on that. And then I'm going to be doing another podcast. Somebody says, I can hear somebody say another one, but I love some good podcasts. But this is what I'm going to actually be doing on my own and kind of facing that fear, because I'm doing podcasts right now with other people, but this one I'm doing on my own. I'm being very intentional about it. It's going to be it's going to be kind of like that short espresso that you need to get you through the week. That little short, of mocha latte, if you will, to kind of get you through the week. So I'm excited about that. It's going to be a little bit about everything. It's going to be about corporate. It's going to be about being a mom. It's going to be about life and having friends, but just kind of that laugh that you need, that little dose of something to get you through. So I got some stuff brewing, and just excited the fact that I have stuff. There's a time where I feel like I didn't have anything. So now I have stuff. So I'm just embracing all of it. So I'm just really excited about that. So, but in the interim, just always, reach out to me on LinkedIn and all that good stuff. And when the time comes, I will be unveiling, if you will. And we'll go from there. But it's just a fun time. It's a good time. It's a good time. So, yeah.
It's a great time to be alive, to be figuring things out,
Yeah.
Thank you everyone who is, I think been part of our journeys, both in parallel and individually. This is I'll say, I think we came into this conversation thinking, let's be intentional, let's be honest.
Mhm.
And, because in many ways, not everybody's going to get up and have this conversation,
No.
right? And the intention is not that everyone would, it's more so that everyone will start to feel that you're not alone, that
Yes.
there's a place, right? And Christian, thank you for saying, right? We are definitely all on that big cruise ship together,
Yes.
and there are margaritas, there are, alcoholic and not, there are places to enjoy ourselves, activities, right? But really, the point is to not feel alone. So,
Yeah.
um, I will raise my hand and say, listen, if you're ever feeling like you're stuck in that river of misery, as my coach says, please know that I'm standing right behind you, right in front of you. I'm somewhere, right? Put your hand out. I got you, right? And I
Yeah.
know there are a lot of people that are around you as well. Confidence is something that we have to work at every single day. It's not something that comes easy. It's something that truly is a choice and a decision. And Nicole, thank you for giving us this platform to be able to share these stories and so much more. I think to come. And thank you everybody for tuning in. This has truly been magical and
Yeah.
wouldn't be possible without everyone.
Well, and I want to give a shout out to Erin Mills. Thank you for listening. Rob Wilson, who said, wow, love both pieces of advice. So thank you for that. Thank you again, Erin. She said, thank you. Beautiful messages. We appreciate you. But to kind of piggyback on what you said, yes, caffeine and confidence is not going to go anywhere. We're just trying to figure out, what does it look like? What could it look like in the future? And that's where you come in too. So if you would like more of this or have any ideas, feel free to reach out, because this is something I'm very passionate about. And anytime we could just allow people to come together and take a break and just really have some really good conversation, that's big. So as we wrap up, I got to send you out with a little reminder. You don't need to earn your confidence. You don't need to shrink your voice to fit the room. And you sure as hell don't need anyone's permission to be seen. This week was never about handing you something. It was about reflecting it back to you, the fire, the strength, the light you already carry. So remember to keep showing up, keep taking up space. And if you ever forget who you are, just remember to come back to this conversation. We'll be here for you. So, with that, keep shining. We'll see you next time. And again, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. You take care.